If enough Americans don't get out to the polls, Donald Trump could get away with using the dictator's playbook. Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. By asking the simple question, will enough Americans show up this fall that we can push through all the various forms of voter suppression, including messing with the mails, and disinformation that Donald Trump is promoting? Well, enough Americans show up to stop Trump from using the dictator's playbook. This is really an important point, and it's a point that Rachel Maddow made on her show last night, and it was the first time I'd heard it in the national press. I just finished writing this book about oligarchy and tyranny, and it's front and center there. But I had not seen. I'd kind of waiting for. But I had not seen anybody in the corporate press talk about this. And now one show has. We'll see if others do. But here it is. The single most consistent defining characteristic of an emerging dictatorship in a country that started as a democracy is that the dictator actually holds elections and typically wins them. In fact, always wins them. That's why he's the dictator. And the way that the dictator, and I'm using the word he because I don't know of any female dictators who have done this, and the way that he does this is by seizing control of the instruments of government that can help him win the election. Not because people love him, but because basically they end up having no choice. I mean, Donald Trump has done this now with the Justice Department, the Post Office, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Federal Reserve, and our intelligence agencies. None of this has ever happened before. This is arguably a massive violation of the Hatch Act, which says you can't use federal resources for election purposes. And, they've been violating the Hatch Act forever. From Kellyanne Conway pitching Ivanka's stuff in front of the White House logo, to Donald Trump putting Goya products all over his desk, his daughter Ivanka, doing a photo shoot with Goya products and tweeting. I mean, all this kind of stuff. This is all deeply, profoundly illegal, but, Trump is like pushing it in our face, like, screw you people. We don't care about the law. We don't care about democracy. We only care about power. Over at the Justice Department, Attorney General Bill Barr has said that he intends to investigate Joe Biden. In fact, he's doing it right now, the John Durham investigation, and Joe Biden and his son's activities in Ukraine, and that, maybe just before the election we'll release all this information. Trump has seized control of the post office. He's just over the weekend, on Friday, decapitated its senior management and has already begun slowing down the mail. People all over the country are complaining that their packages are arriving late. Hell, I sent a couple of books to a friend of mine in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago via priority mail, and they have not arrived yet. He is slowing down the mail. He's more than doubling the cost for states to send out mail-in ballots. He's telling the states you can no longer mail these things bulk rate, third-class mail. You have to mail them first-class mail. So the price goes from roughly 20 cents to a little over 50 cents. He's gotten the Department of Homeland Security and various factions within their immigration police to challenge protesters for a test run here in Portland, and plans to bring that crew to other cities just in time for a massive display of police power during the elections. Trump has directed all reporting on coronavirus statistics away from the Centers for Disease Control and into HHS, an agency run by his toady, Alex Azar. Now hospitals and public health officials, as well as news agencies, can no longer get accurate data on the severity of the pandemic in the United States. Over at the Fed, Trump has installed Jerome Powell, a multimillionaire banker who is not an economist and was on the board of the Carlyle Group. Powell has created about $7 trillion out of thin air and is using it to buy corporate stocks and bonds to maintain the stock market, something we've talked about on this program a lot, making it appear that the economy is nowhere near as bad as it is. And when our intelligence agencies first reported that Russia, the source of much of Trump's wealth, according to his own children, was already actively interfering in the 2020 elections, Trump got them to change their assessment to downplay Russia and highlight that China and Iran had a, quote, preference for Biden. He got the intelligence agency to admit the fact that China and Iran are not engaged in active measures, creating the false impression that there was some sort of balance among foreign actors messing with our elections. On top of this, this is where it explodes from the realm of obscene to the realm of, God, I'm lacking adjectives. In a further tip of the hat to his white racist supporters, Donald Trump wants to declare his candidacy for president, for re-election, while simultaneously symbolically declaring that the Confederacy won at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, you will recall, was referred to by the federal government's website for Gettysburg. Says it was, quote, often referred to as the high watermark of the rebellion. Gettysburg was the Civil War's single bloodiest battle. Now, the South lost at Gettysburg, but Trump wants to go there and proclaim his candidacy, I think, to essentially say to white racists in America, which day by day I'm discovering to my horror is a larger fraction of white people than I ever imagined, that basically he's reversing the Confederacy's loss at Gettysburg. I mean, there were one of the points that I make in my new book on oligarchy is that the South lost the Civil War but won the peace. And, that's essentially what Donald Trump is ratifying, is certifying. And all of these actions, if you add these all up, no president has ever done these things, right? No president has ever used the Department of Homeland Security or any of our federal police agencies to help his reelection. No president has ever used the Department of Health and Human Services to help him win re-election. No president has ever used the post office or messed with the post office to help him win an election. No president has ever manipulated the Federal Reserve to help win an election. No president has ever manipulated our intelligence agencies to win an election. I mean, the closest you can get to that was Nixon back during the '72 election. And I'm doing this from memory. I can't find documentation on it, but my recollection is that he was making it harder for reporters in Vietnam to do their job. And that was around the time that Walter Cronkite was pulling his hair out. But that pales in comparison to what Trump is doing. So you add all this stuff up, and it becomes fairly clear that Donald Trump doesn't think that he's president of the United States. He believes that he's a tinpot dictator of a third world country. He's been governing that way for 3.5 years, and now he's campaigning that way. And the question that we're confronting over the next 6 months, between now and January 20th, when the new president should be taking place, or when Trump's presidency officially ends, is whether Trump has taken America so far down this road of oligarchy and tyranny and despotism and fascism, essentially, that we can't recover. I mean, it's going to take tens of millions of us showing up, speaking out, and making sure our votes are counted to stop this train wreck before it utterly destroys the American experiment. And, I mean, there's still months to go. There's still a month or so to go before early voting starts. And we've got all this stuff in place. What more is Donald Trump going to do? What more are the fascists in the Republican Party willing to do? I don't have the answer to that. Obviously time will tell. My opinion is that we can still stop this and turn it back if we overwhelmingly show up in the elections, and I think that there's some indications we're going to. But will our ballots be counted? I mean, are we seeing America turn into Uzbekistan?